Yeah, I'm Roger Gietzen. Josip and I are the two who started hosting this. I'm in Michigan, northern Michigan. I'm not even sure. I think it's 5B, temperate climate zone. And fun fact about me, I like to meditate a lot. How about that? Not everybody knows that. Why don't you go next?
Sure. I'm Margaret Jameson. I grew up here in northern Michigan, which is 5B, but I spend much of the year in Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas specifically, about which, fun fact, the first time you open up Google Maps on any new device, it will open up precisely with the pin dropped in Lawrence, Kansas, which might be, you think, because it looks like it's in the middle of the United States, which it kind of is, but it specifically drops on the apartment of the lead engineer from Google geolocation who designed Google Maps and grew up in a very tiny, humble apartment building in Lawrence, Kansas, where he later ran a failed bid for Secretary of State.
Okay.
But nice guy. That's fun fact.
We have one more in our.
So I'm Tomas, and Roger just had a workshop this week at my place, and we did a lot of ground preparation and plantings, and so I'm learning a lot about syntropic farming. And my fun fact is just that I'm really excited about a tree called yellowhorn, which produces a really beautiful edible nut. So that's it.
And then the G is my recording, so nobody's gonna introduce themselves from that.
Okay. Should we go? You go, Sam.
Sure. So I'm here together with Josipa in Denmark, and we run a small experimental plot here. And we've started with a new site where we teach school children basics in Syntropics, and we run courses, and we just are super passionate about all things Syntropic. I don't have a fun fact, but I'll tell you my favorite veg right now, and that's probably carrots.
Super great. You're making everyone jealous. The carrots. So I'm Josipa, and as everything that Saul said, and my fun fact is that I've this year started to practice capoeira, and I'm really obsessed with it. Like, it's actually taking time from my meditation and Syntropic, which were only my only two things. Now I have three things, so it's tricky to have time for everything. But so glad to be here and see you all, and looking forward to the talks. We learn so much from them, so very cool. And Ryan, do you want? I'm just gonna call like this in a circle.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm in central Pennsylvania, in a little town called Mercersburg, and I've been obsessed with milkweed lately.
That's a good one. And Astrid.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Astrid. I live in the west coast of Ireland. I created the oldest food forest of Ireland. Came to Syntropy through Roger. That's 8 years ago or something. When have you been in Ireland? 8 years, something. Yeah. And I do the presentation, so you will see a little bit of that. Fun fact. I'm sometimes, when I tune in, I can talk to spirits and trees and stuff. Okay, that's me.
Beautiful. And Abe.
Hi, I'm Abe. I'm in Missoula, Montana, and I'm going to present today as well. And fun fact about me, I like to build electronic musical instruments like synthesizers and drum machines in the winter when it's snowy and there's nothing else to do and everything's frozen. It's good to have hobbies.
Super cool.
Thanks.
Looking forward to it. And next one is Jim Auro.
Hi guys,
Oh, it's you guys. Awesome to see you. I've been seeing stuff on Facebook from you guys. Very cool.
So I'm Jimmy, and we are in the south of France. Currently, we are on the side of the river, literally like a meter from it, because it's the only fresh place around here. It's like hot in this moment. So, yeah. And yeah, our project is here, and we've been here for a year and a little bit. And fun fact is, I couldn't think of much, but I like the tree Alianthus altissima.
And me, it's Aurora. So, as he said already, we are in the south of France. What is it, 7B? And we have a lot of sunlight. It's been already like super, super hot. Since June, we already had like 36 degrees Celsius every day, and today is like 39. So the only place is like the river, and we try to like survive like that for 6-7 hours a day. Fun fact about me, that I love watermelon, and I'm growing it, and I'm super excited about it to taste it and to grow it for the first time.
Oh, it's also my favorite food. I'm so jealous you can grow it.
With a lot of compost, though. a lot of compost.
Cool. And this G, that's you, Roger? And then Aloe left.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Aloe. I'm from Virginia, but I currently live in the Midlands, United Kingdom. Fun fact, I'm an ex-combat medic for the U.S. Navy, and that's about it.
Welcome. Thank you. And just one thing I want to ask, Roger, your friend that's last name Jameson, I forget the first name.
Meg.
Meg. So my sister's husband is from Michigan and called Jameson. Kevin Jameson, you're not related.
Well, ours is IESON. There's a lot of Jamesons with just an E. And one is Scottish and one is Irish.
Oh, I don't remember.
Scottish end, but
okay, we don't know Kevin.
Sorry. My family is from Old Mission Peninsula in Michigan. Okay. There used to be a lot more Jamesons up there, but
I guess there's many.
That's cool.
Sorry for the side. Let's kick it off with the presentation.
So Astrid, I was going to have you start. So you can go ahead and do the share screen. We've been practicing this. It should be seamless.
Maybe then we'll all mute. I'll mute us.
Yeah, if you're not talking, go ahead and mute yourself.
And Roger, how should we do? Should we do the questions after or along?
Yeah, I think questions after, after not all of them, but after each. So
yeah, or I would say I have a few films, and there are two. Let me see now. 1, 2, 3, and then another 3. So after the blocks of 3, I think it's good because they are kind of going together. Because there are just little bits from one tour, and the other 3 is from a later date. So, okay, let me see now. I share entire screen. We were practicing that. Can you see my screen now? No.
Not yet.
What do I entire screen? Ah, now you can, huh? Share mode now.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. So I just run those 3 films, one after the other. Maybe I should say something about our climate. We have, we have the most rain of everybody. Our problem is the rain, too much of it, and wind. That's our problems. We never have, we call it a heat wave when there is above 20 degrees. We rarely get frost, but depends on where you are in the island. The north, of course, gets more frost, but where I am, we rarely have frost. Okay, I just run you through those little videos. Okay, I am just outside my house here, and I will just start here in front of me. Here is the stone. They call it the heat sink here. And what you see is a lavender and a currant and a fig. Having a fig, I trained it up there, and then it will go into the glass house. You see stuff going out of the glass house here. The same with the grape here that was put in 2 years ago, and it develops outside. So that will do something, but I let it go into the glass house here as well. So, what else do I have? Wild strawberries. I do a lot with wild strawberries. And you have raspberries here. They arrived here by themselves. And we have there a little wasp, baby wasp. Not too many wasps. That's good because they have honeybees. Okay, moving over here, another fig. See, and I get a little bit more wind. It's not that sheltered and has no fig. Honeyberry, yeah. So I have already eaten most. That's doing quite well. Moving, that is a rosehip with black rosehips. They seem to have very high vitamin here. And, oh yeah, that's a nice thistle. As well biomass in birds, yeah, your bees. Happy going. Then you see the Angelica. Here you have a good example. Angelica and figwort over there. Got other things there, but I leave that. I need to collect a lot of the seeds for the new land there. As you see, there is a dogwood and another honeyberry what is doing very well. I divided the other one, so that. Oh yeah, this is bistard. You see it here. It's a lovely woodland plant. You can eat it as well, and otherwise chop and drop. And the same with here. Let me see. You get the back better here. Those Tussilago verfahren, the only Latin name I know, and those leaves can get quite big here as well. That would be a normal size, but they can get really big here in Ireland. Here, Motherworth. Then this is a flowering currant. They are doing quite well and get into very high high bushes, trees almost, 3 meters. So I started growing them to, they're not really good to eat. They're okay, I eat them now anyway. But doing well, work easy from cuttings. Oh yeah, and the bindweed. I love the bindweed because it shows me that there needs to be something done here. And I guess it's just this. I want me to take that out. This is a new one, what works well from cuttings as well. Grows quite quickly, and I can make very dense little hedges of that. So that I stock that everywhere as well. I love that stuff. So-called invasive here, not native. Makes nice long, and I just can pop it in. You see the orange flowers there. Works on very compact soil, really a primary one, and I love it. Rip it out, put it down, and it comes again. And it is long, so that's handy as well there. There's a ginkgo hiding there behind. It's going slow, but it's slowly getting there. Now, let's see. Move to the other side. Yeah, here this is a plum, a wild plum, what makes runners everywhere. And I cut the shit out of it, and it grows again. So what I do with them, I use them as wind break, keep them low for a bit, and then I just send them up. And so long I can bend that down, I can remove, and so I really can play with this stuff. And it comes up everywhere. Here's another one, cutting by pull. So I started integrating vegetables here. There's a pea that's coming to its end. Tobacco, that seems to go quite well as well because it's a nightshade, so it's a different family. You see it, and it flowers as well. You can pick a few leaves off. Yes, I am a smoker. And there's a sunflower there and another tobacco. It's under this. What is it? It's an apple, crab apple, and it makes little cherry-like apples. This year, it's all a disaster because we had a very, very wet April, and all the trees suffered a bit. You see indeed the leaves didn't make every year. Normally, it's full and looks lovely over the winter. But the very wet April was very bad. Raspberries, they come. I use them as pulses, chop and drop as well, but now they can grow because they have space there. There is fennel. There is what you see there. They're not open as daily. I love them. They sell it by themselves. So they are still going. Not one open at the moment. See that what looks a bit more poorly is coming to its end is another type. You can eat the roots as well. Haven't tried that yet, but I will divide those clumps so they will get there. There is a currant, there is an ash. We have ash dieback here, but by keep cutting it, you kind of can prolong their life. And it is artichoke. I got seeds, so I started putting them in. Just here and there, but I will have to find places for them as well. And that is a pimpernel. It's just here and there, indeed wild ones going through. I just stay in front. Here's a fig wood again. We have here, that is bean herb. This is marjoram, rhubarb. This is gold seed. I want that to seed. Tart. Wild strawberries everywhere. Oh, and this is one of my favorites here. Seleno. And those leaves, they're a bit like cucumber. I eat them like salad, in salad. Lovely stuff. Motherworth of Feverfew. Not scoring the in between. Then here, this is an, what is it? It tastes lemony. Okra. There's other okras you call okra, but it isn't okra. It survived in the pot here outside, so I might actually be able to put it in. And again, your raspberries here. Here again, they really grow like mad. These plums. Never seen a plum on it, but it's so easy to take them off. See a new shoe just from a week or so. Okay. Now we take it further. Further, this is Oregon grape. They're flowered, but no fruit. Rose behind, that's chop and drop, and this planting here, of course, and a mellow. They're as well, top and drop, it just starts flowering in there. So, so that is here. Then my favorite Rosa rugosa, those are for cutting. They can have a top and drop here. Above it, this is, how they call that? It looks indeed quite tropical. I love them. They make beautiful color. I have another one what for the first time started flowering. You can eat the seeds, like sweets. So I left that because it's outside the window. So I really love to look at it. But they seem to go good on cutting as well. And then they make runners. Well, they're called runners. Anyway, they pop up somewhere else. So I love when stuff is doing this. It's just more stuff to chop and drop. This is a laburnum pea, and they look absolutely gorgeous. So my excuse is a little nitrogen fixer. And then there is another fig here. So I integrate them more and more and see if they fruit. So I have one in a falling down glass house and it's doing great. So I think they can be outside when it's warm and sheltered enough. There's dogwood here. Here I left that one grow because it makes nice big rose hips. It's one of my main food source actually, the rose hips. A chop and drop. That's the dogwood. That is indeed. Here is again one of the planting. This is a what is it? False acacia. There was a trial, and this grow like mad. It's the ship mast, and I trained it up as well. It's just going absolutely crazy. But they don't make suckers here, and I don't know if I will get seeds. It's still early, but that is looking very, very promising. So willow, now here you see something with the willow. When is the time you phase out the willow? Now this is basket willow, they are more iffy, and that is very clear here. They got fungus. They really tell me it's time to go. So I've already cut something back. This is again rosehip. That is a really big one. So those on the new land, I will have those because they can get really big. That's not even big on here. So this is adjustment, something climbing up as well. Chop and drop. Now, talk about raspberries. They will come again now, raspberries. The early one will go on. See here, they always make the better crop more in autumn. Really nice stuff. So, that I know. It needs a bit of managing here. It looks a bit, here, there's a crop nut. I need to proper manage them as well now, not like cut everything, but I use them a lot as chop and drop. Certainly this one, it looks beautiful and it is getting very tall there. So, see, this willow is kind of okay, but here it just gets too dense. So I really will take them out, and then indeed the plum will take that over here. Yep, you see that as well. Up there, and that can be managed again. They grow so fast. It's really great. So then you have nice apples. So this is an apple what can have its own rootstock. My apples are kind of funny, but this was here. You see, apple, the mistakes, orchard. So, but they are, let me think, they're getting older than 25 years, so they're only out anyway. But they seem to go in a rhythm of 3 years now. I have apples all over the 1.5 acres, but they seem to all managed together to say like, oh no, we just go every 3 years. But this spring was what I said, like April, and they didn't even flower really. Everything was very bad. But next year I expect a bumper crop again. But this, if that is again, then I will thin them out, and then maybe have the year after then again. I had apples different. Then 1 year this one, then the other year that one. But because I think they talk through the whole root system, they go like, and it seems to be a natural thing as well, of every 3 years. So, but what did I do here? Cherry, oh yeah, you have the willow again and again. It's, yeah, I will see what it will do. Might be again the wet spring, but it seems to be on the out. This is an how it's called? It's a native mixed berries, but not edible. But again, easy to grow from cuttings, so that's why they're still on. And after a while, they go and chop and dry. You get this understory tree in these. They don't get much higher than that. This is a pheasant berry. Love them. To find something. Oh yeah, here. And they're squishy black. They're like wine and chocolate. Yeah. Birds love them as well. But birds are a little bit gone because blackberries are there. So here indeed Alder. That is going, so my trainer to go, actually that can go. And that is indeed another apple already here. But came by itself. I had a lot of what I said, and dropped with this red coconut. And it just took. So I left it here. So I'm happy. Indeed, another apple here. It's just too many apples. So I added stuff. That is indeed, I added the hawthorn. And there I cut the whole apple tree here. There's a cherry now, a self-rooting cherry. It's interesting for rootstocks. And here again, added alder. That rectifying my situation here. Here's another alder. Here is an olive, I call that autumn olive. So added them. They seem to grow in winter here as well, more than in summer. Over the winter period. Look, there we have one apple. Yeah, great. So, but that was a wrong year. So indeed, and they are grafted, but they are getting to the end of their lives anyway. But I can, with other stuff in place, then I can renew that in a different way. And oh yeah, that's actually, I think, black alder, because I have a black alder, or what makes suckers. Yeah, here, what is that? Oh yeah, there is bean, but that is not really growing properly here. That the sunflowers, but I had beans in here last year, so I maybe shouldn't have done that again. Oh yeah, this stuff. This is a wild leek, garlicky one, Babington leek. So, and this is really nice because it makes these bulbets. And in a later stage, now you see the bulbets already will have roots. And then you just stick them in the ground and they make new ones. Hopefully they don't fall over because animals like that as well, wild animals. Oh, you see the yellow stuff there. That is birds for trefoil. Bee-like one. So of course I let them go around. You see there as well, pea-like ones. So, and oh yeah, buttercups. A lot of people, you complain about buttercups, but yeah, they come after the grass. And then see the trefoil takes over. Really good. Now, oh yeah, now, here's the big ash. They're here since 60s. I don't cut them. They're to the south, and you see, like, that's no problem. But you see the dieback in there as well. This in the middle one's really is dieback. That looks quite good. Those are okay. But you see, because they have not only the dieback, but they have more light foliage. So having them to the south is not shading out too much. Like, okay. This biomass willow, you can train them very quickly up. And beside you, you see that plum again, that they're getting quite high. And this is cooking apple, and you see they make lots of biomass, so that will have a cut. Didn't get to that yet, because in the bowel system everything takes longer. Cutting is, that's why roast is indeed way more efficient. But yeah, apples, they grow like mad here. For biomass, I mean, here's another one. But again, like, I mean, that spacing is ridiculous, you know, orchard idea. So, but indeed, you see as well here, so I added a lot there. That comfrey can have next cut again. That was really wide. And then here, they got a lot of light because I took out hawthorn and willow. So, and because I had this nice long poles, I said, like, okay, let's try to put beans in here. And that looks quite good. The beans there going up. On here is, this is kale. I let that seed out. Yes, I know bindweed. It's on its end. It should be strop and dropped, but I want the seeds. I want the seed out there. Like, bindweed here you seed eaten, but not the leaves of the beans. So that's why I keep the bindweed. Like when it gets a bit too much, okay, now it starts flowering, okay. I do a little bit of that. But you see it so clearly. The bindweed eaten, and there's a sunflower there. So, and again, that's that plum type, damson type. Is willow, so I got that up as far high I could get, pulsing and drop. So because they did just enough soil now over time, so that actually seems to work, which is lovely. Here you see a dead ash. It makes all mushrooms there. So that's the nice thing about that stuff, making mushrooms. Horse chestnut. So I started cutting that. That seemed to actually react quite good as well on cutting. It came back, it was all bare till the top there, and it made loads of foliage again, you know, in the last month or so. So they are interesting as well to use so what you get here, indeed burnt young leaves, because we have a very high sun intensity, plus close to the sea. So we had a storm recently, so that means you get a bit of salt and then have the sunlight on that, they burn a bit. That happens a lot. Okay. How do I come back in this? No, how do I get you all on it now again?
No, hey, Astrid.
Yeah.
I think you can just leave it if you're going to go to the next three, but let's ask if anybody has questions.
Because please. Anybody questions so far? I know it's a lot of mumble.
Thank you, Astrid. Oh, go ahead. Someone else wants to ask?
Well, I was just going to ask, and thank you, these are great. when you started, were you starting with like a bare canvas, and did you work, or was it already filled with something, and were you working your way bit by bit? Like what was it before you began?
A field of rushes.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, those big ash trees you see in there, they were planted in the 60s. All the farmers got ash trees in the 60s, and they planted them then on boundaries. So those ash trees were there, then a few sycamore from the back of a lorry. And mostly, you see that everywhere. The sycamore, then they planted them northwest of the house, so
Right.
a few of them, and then some ditches, a few hawthorn, but that's pretty much it. No, I planted everything what is there. Like it was field of rushes or fields of rushes. Yeah. And that is now 26 years ago. And I have to say as well, and on very marginal land, it is former bog land. It's probably farmed since 200 years, but it kind of wants always to go to bog land as well. Because it's a bit and at the bottom of a hill as well. So that can be quite challenging. And the situation there was last year autumn, and normally the water comes in the winter. We have floods and stuff in the winter, but it came in April, what I'm talking about there, and that was did a lot of damage because plants are already woken up and got fungi and or onion types just disappeared, and it was too much. It was the wrong time of the year. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about these first?
Yeah, I just like to ask, because it's nice for a bit of context, if you can see like the size, and then like are you doing this mainly to have food for yourself, like self-sufficiency, and then like it seems you have lots of things that come and then you work with that.
Yeah, over the time, I have this Damson plum type moved in to suckers. Then I have another one what just moved in. What is a sort of wild cherry thing as well? Suckers come in, and I mean those 1.5 acres. Yes, it all started with the idea of self-sufficiency. I have my own firewood. I don't buy any fruit or veg. And it kind of grew. I even changed pathway because something came up by itself. So, but you hear me talking there as well about the new land. So, but that would be another presentation in a year or so. That's 4.5 acres. So blank canvas, similar situation, but not boggy, what is much better. So, no, it kind of grew indeed, sort of naturally, indeed. And then I collected sort of everything edible. If it's worth doing or not, it's just indeed a question of, okay, figure it out. Or it's more like a sweet you take during the walk in the garden, but would commercially absolutely not be viable. But there's sort of a tick, or is still a tick. Anything you can eat, I will try it out, put it in there and see. That sort of collected plants like this. And, when people gave me a plant, the first thing I would say, can I eat it?
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you eat the bindweed? I thought I heard you say you eat the leaves of the bindweed.
You can eat the flowers, but I wouldn't bother. So no, or some people even say that if you eat a lot of them, you'll get high or something. I have no idea, but I wouldn't bother. But the bindweed is really because so many people complain about it. But what I said there, indeed, there is different things. In my glasshouse as well. The tomatoes, they are held by the bindweed. or by a bean I put in there, or bindweed indeed is eaten and the beans are not. If there's no bindweed, the bean leaves are eaten from insects. So that certainly do. Sometimes it gets a little bit too enthusiastic, and then I take the leaves off. But I'm not messing with it otherwise. It is best to be left alone, basically. Or you have what is it good at? Cover soil with bare. Put roots into soil where there is no roots in. So, or indeed with chop and drop, when I see something is bindweed, then there is indeed, I have to look and taking over a plant I put there because it wasn't the right plant, right time to put there, so it talks a lot to me. Yeah. Okay. More questions, or will I go on? Go on, I suppose.
Looks like you can go on. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one now is this spring, I think. And I kind of tried to take the same route what I did there. This is, by the way, only a little part of my garden, but it's the front, yeah. So I kind of had the same route there. I adjust everything else on my land to rose now because you can't really manage that natural. Okay, go on. There. It's super hot, and it's just about beginning of May. We had 4 weeks, the whole March it didn't rain. It's very unusual, and it's great because I have to rethink a lot of shade and extra mold and stuff, but everything is full of fruit. The counts are absolutely amazing. So, we were here last time, but it is more about bowl system thing. The tree is indeed recovered, there's the flowers. Doesn't do the bright dress look, but it's good. Oh, this was interesting. That was a radish would grow all winter. And let's see it out there, see if we get a few radishes by itself. So that one here, local fruits, orange and grape, the laburnum, it's a bit useless for Syntropics, but it's beautiful. And here's that plum wood everywhere goes. So basically, the news should keep low like that. And then in a certain stage, here's this one. This one now, I will remove, I need cicatus for that, so that I can send it up all the side ones, because there's a fig here that comes out. And there's a little stone wall to give it the heat. So what I do in more, like organic system, I change everything else to rose except here. So you see here, why did I start putting a bed here? Because I realize it's a sun trap, and that's what we need here. So another year, and then I will try putting beans. They can climb up. Those plums here. That is firewood. So I remove everything here on the side. And it's a bit bigger because there's nothing there, so they can grow a bit more. The height is already good, so I don't have to push it up there. So, but what has microclimates? That corner is good. Or, this is another one, empty spots where there is nothing. Make heaps where there is nothing. Here with the apple, or here in front of the apple. And then over time, over 3 years or so, I can involve vegetables. Vegetables need a lot. So all this apples, flower here and there and stop fruiting. Yeah, didn't clean that up. This is the first time. It's a Siberian peach tree. It's the first time it's not eaten by slugs. I had 3 of them, and I don't know, this is already 5-6 years old, I think. So it's very difficult, but because it's so hot. And you can eat them, and you can eat the peas. So for people that have enough sun, and I think shelter as well. I think it wants quite a lot of shelter. Yeah, see, there is a note that can look like that as well. When I heat up stuff, this is what came up by itself. So I guess because I have another one that came up that looks more from a nut. So this might be when these trees go out, they're full of flower, they still go good. That it's a good spot for here. So it seems the filbert is nice and happy here. It's drier anyway. Yeah, see, but the apples doing this year, I guess I get a good, that's trained up there to rectify it here a bit. Yeah, this is another bed, but I don't have enough stuff for it. So that is because I have the apples as well to feed. So that is really a thing that you always look like, do I have enough stuff around it, as close as possible, and otherwise I have to add plants. Kind of the same route what I did before. I left the dogwood here, but that seed goes over the path, so that's my indication as well to cut it. Need cherry tree, nice and full. So yeah, that one is, you've seen that one, and there's some plum gone. There's one, that one I cut completely, I really abused. So let's see how it recovers and is able for biomass. Otherwise, I want it to totally out. So I gave it another chance to see if they, how vigorous they are to do it. It's a cooking apple. And all those willows are cut down and shooting out again. So when that is further, now I let them grow, certainly with the sun. But later I cut everything away except one. You know, it's a question of when it starts shading out. So, and then I leave one, and then it will go all the way up in the 1 year. Like, I leave one. Anyway, something I like that up there. And when they get vigorous, indeed, you can do that. So that's how I manage. I can't let trees getting too high. I'm not touching this ash. And chainsaw, yeah, but it's very dangerous because they have the ash dieback. Said that there as well. See, this one looks really good now, but there's still time to make leaves, so that is anyway. And so you can't see it, but they are got under the plum. There was all behind there dogwood, and now the elderberry is coming through better. So I cut that all the way down. But for wind, I left this, but that can have a cut soon. Yeah. So I think we went till here. Yeah. Like that willow there, I'm saying. That's what it would in 1 year with those big ones there. So here's a row. Peas coming up there. It goes nicely. So yeah, when there's enough around, that really works integrated very well. And here's another bed, veg bed, peas as well. So what is that? I thin them out when it rains. What is that? Sweets, I think. Yeah. It's parsnips where I need the seeds from, and another veg what is need seeds. But yeah, there's enough around to feed it. The filbert, beautiful. And here's another pile of stuff because there was space. And it's here at the pathway to see what I plant in there then. But that's how I manage the stuff, what I can cut down. So that was, I have already, because pathway here, so I have already, like this one, my cucumber. And the Elaeagnus, they haven't fruit this year, but you need from different stock. But yeah, nice vigorous grow. And this is a fail. This bed, it's not there yet. Tried to put peas in, but the slugs got it. So it's not there yet. It needs more piling up. See, that hasn't. When it's getting ready that I can put stuff on there again. So I'd say it's what, 3 years, and then the bed's getting ready. Okay, that was it.
Thank you, Astrid. So I really want to ask you this last thing you said. You said that the last bed, like you put peas and the slugs got them, and then you said it needs more pile up. Are you saying your experience is if you're improving the soil, like you're just putting biomass, and then at some point the slugs don't eat your veggies?
Okay, slugs.
Yeah.
I think slugs are when you don't have enough bacteria and fungi going. So when under the soil it is not there yet to supply whatever you want to grow on it. I think then the slugs go in there, because what do slugs do? They do very quickly drop and drop, basically, right? Munch. So but with slugs, so it is indeed an indicator for me. Soil is not ready there. Plant in the wrong spot, like the bindweed, showing that as well. Plant in the wrong spot, but there is another thing as well to slugs. Slugs are very curious. Oh, there is a new plant around. We gonna check that one out. Yeah. So first, with sunflowers. Oh my God, when I started growing sunflowers, it was a disaster. Now they're not interested anymore.
Okay.
It is really kind of, they seem to need to check stuff out as well. So you always have this, when you introduce a new plant, you always have this phase of, 80% loss because of the slugs, because they have to get used to it. But certainly it is, for me, very much an indication soil is not ready. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because on our plot, where like the trees are just they're doing well and they're huge, and where we have light, we put like the veggies, like we just can't grow veggies. It's like hopeless. They just eat everything. Like what's been successful in growing, they eat just anything we put.
Most of the herbs are successful.
Yeah, the herbs are fine, but veggies like kale, anything, they just get it all. And now it's like past the point because the trees are taking over, so there's not light anymore. But yeah.
No, my experience is really, I have as well a veg patch. So what you have seen is more indeed my trials to integrate that now into the whole system there. But vegetables need so much. So I'm actually not really further than beans and peas. because I strictly don't use seaweed or manure there because I really want to see what it does. So when I'm other parts of my land that I do use seaweed and manure and whatever to have vegetables growing, what I really need, you know. So it really takes a long time. Certainly because my soil is, I think, the worst, kind of the worst what you can get because it's so acidic and poor. Like, and that überhaupt stuff grows there. Everybody is amazed at überhaupt the fruiting stuff happens in the bark. So yeah, so what I already achieved there, überhaupt achieved, basically, because I didn't know, try everything out, is not in the books. So yeah, but really, I think the yeah, slug. It's always what I always do is I ask, "What are you doing? What are you good at? What are you good at?" We get annoyed. Why we get annoyed by plants and animals and things? So I change that around and go like, "Okay, what you're good at." So then you already don't block yourself by asking like basically question. I hate you, and that is fighting what we don't want really. So indeed, so to ask the yeah, that is. But I've seen a change as well that started 3 years ago, that my slug populations changed into a snail population. And I think that as well is a step better, is a step up. The snails, yes, they do eat young vegetables as well, but they like more rotten stuff. Right? Yeah. So I really think that is a step up there as well, to show that the balance is getting much better. Oh, the Siberian peach tree I learned now is it doesn't like wet. Ha ha ha. Yeah, it can be exposed, but it doesn't like wet. So Siberian peach tree that they are, yeah, that's 4 weeks no rain, 6 weeks no rain, absolutely incredible this May. But so I will take it out and take it to the new land because I have a scenario where I will have good drainage and dry soil, so it can be exposed, but it wants to be dry. That was, I just thought like that is a mistake because I said like maybe not exposed, but that is not right. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Astrid. That was really beautiful to see, and this kind of really observation and being part of the system. So thanks a lot. I think maybe we'll go to Abe, and then at the end we can have questions and also about yours if people have. You ready, Abe?
Yep. Let me get my headphones plugged in and get screen sharing and
Great. Well, I don't know, Roger, do you think we should have a break? Do people want a break? I'm not good at this. I'm always like...
Maybe we just push through this time if yeah, and we're going a little over.
Okay. Great.
okay. I got my screen up. Okay, can everybody see?
Yeah.
Cool. Picture of my farm sign, my first slide.
Yep, that's what we're seeing.
All right, great. I'm gonna go. Okay, so my name is Abe Coley. I have a farm mountaintimefarm.com. I should say it's a tree nursery. It's my primary business. It's what I do for work. I grow and sell seedlings of agroforestry trees, like the sign says, fruit trees, nut trees, berry bushes, and herbaceous perennials. And I ship bare root trees all over the U.S., and I also sell locally. My growing context, I'm in Missoula, Montana, USA, 46.9 north latitude, elevation 3,150 feet. Supposedly growing zone 5A, but it's highly variable year to year. Last year only had 70 days frost free. And then in 2023, 150 days frost free. So it's highly variable year to year. Huge temperature range, -33 Fahrenheit to 107 Fahrenheit. It's pretty dry here. It's considered a semi-arid environment, and we get roughly 12 inches of rain a year, sometimes more, sometimes less, but never usually a whole lot more or a whole lot less. However, I do have ample irrigation water from the river nearby, which here's kind of where my farm is situated, and it's kind of in between the confluence of two rivers, the Clark Fork River to the north and the Bitterroot River to the south. And the land is heavily influenced by this confluence of two rivers. Perhaps you can see kind of on the one side of the river, you can kind of see little channels that sort of have carved their way through the town. So these rivers, you can see it especially on the river of the north, is a braided channel with ox bows, and it's not a straight running river. So over thousands and thousands of years, this river has completely chewed up and moved around and placed and displaced all of the soil where my farm is. So it's highly variable river bottom land. Roughly 12 inches of topsoil over gravelly gravel bed subsoil. However, it's super variable. Some places have only 2 inches of soil, and then you go 30 feet over and the soil will go down 3 or 4 feet before you ever hit a rock. So highly variable. Here's a sort of overhead view of my farm. The green square in the center is my tree nursery, as well as that little diagonal black thing right below the green square in the center is some new beds I put in last year. And then the majority of my Syntropic plantings are in the back half of the property, or the top half in the image. You can kind of see some rows there. So I got started planting my orchard in summer 2019. I spent the couple years before fencing off my whole property because I have white-tailed deer. So I spent 2018 through 2019 building 8-foot tall wood picket fences. I made a fence wire twisting machine that twists 6 pairs of wires, and you turn the crank, put in a stick, pull it back, turn the crank, put in a stick, pull it back, and made miles and miles of picket fence. I think I put about 15 miles worth of sticks through my table saw, and it works really well. It provides a windbreak. It casts 50% shade, and it's really nice fence. The deer can't jump over it. They try to jump over it, but they just smash into it and bounce off. So that's been good. So I got the whole property fenced off and started getting a lot of recruitment of new seeds along the fence line and out in the middle of the field. Would get seedlings of chokecherry and crabapple and stuff. And there's a saying that fencing for 1 year is worth planting for 10 years. And it's good. You can see the difference between my side of the fence and my neighbor's side of the fence quite starkly. So anyway, got it fenced off, and then started planting my orchard, and my main challenge in planting the orchard is that my entire property is very thick with quackgrass. If you're familiar with quackgrass, it is a rhizomatous, vigorous grass that the rhizomes can travel 100 feet, and they have very sharp pointed tips that will grow through anything and everything you put in their way. They'll grow through weed mat, cardboard, mulch. In the garden, the tips of the quackgrass will even grow through a potato or a carrot or a beet. You'll dig up a potato and there'll be a runner of quackgrass that's just pierced through it. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, quackgrass uses all of the available water and nitrogen. And also it offers very little in terms of habitat for birds and insects. And later in the summer, it goes dormant. It's a cool season grass, so when it gets hot, it turns brown and dries out and doesn't photosynthesize, and it also becomes a huge fire hazard. So what do I do about that? I mow it down and rake it onto my tree rows. So here's a photograph of kind of one of the central block of my planting. I've got 4 rows where my target crop is hazelnuts. However, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff planted in with them. So I cut the grass, rake it on the rows, and I do that mid-May through mid-June when the grass is just going into flower. To accomplish this, I use an Austrian-style scythe with the straight handle, and I use a little short 18-inch ditch blade, which I really like better than a long grass blade. The smaller blade has a smaller area, so for the same amount of force that you apply to it, there's more force per inch of blade front, so it cuts more easily. And then I rake the grass up with a 30-inch bed rake, and not pictured, I use a medium grit synthetic whetstone, which I really like the synthetic ones because they have a very even texture to them and there's no lumps or little rocks or bits of stuff in it like in a natural whetstone. So here's a picture of a row that was cut. You can really see the difference between the quackgrass and where it was cut. And you might say, oh, what the hell are you doing? You've reduced your photosynthetic capacity. But as you'll see in a few slides, the grass grows right back, and the photosynthetic capacity is only diminished temporarily. And I should also note that I cut the grass down to this brown layer. Right above the soil, there's a layer of thatch, which is last year's growth. So I cut the grass in May or June, rake it onto the row, and then I let it regrow all summer, and then it dies in the winter and flattens down under the snow and provides next year's layer of thatch, which keeps the soil covered and keeps it out of the sun. So looking down this row, this is about 2 weeks after cutting, and you can see the quackgrass growing back, greening back up. And you have sort of a narrow window in which to introduce new species after you grow the grass. So right after, well, I guess I'll skip ahead a little bit. By midsummer, the quackgrass grows up to be about 6 or 8 inches tall, and it doesn't reflower. It doesn't send up a new seed head. So it's nice. It stays short and stays green, but doesn't get in the way of anything else. And it creates light and space for new plants to germinate. So after I cut, I get a whole bunch of volunteers of quote unquote weeds, and plants are impossible to take pictures of. So I use my whiteboard to just kind of write down some of the things that I saw in the space right behind it. So bachelor buttons, mammoth red clover, salsify, Dame's rocket, black medic, agastache, prickly lettuce, mullein, black-eyed Susan, yellow sweet clover, and dandelion. Those all are just, they popped up. I didn't seed them. And normally they'd get swamped by the grass and they wouldn't survive. But cutting the grass, it gives them the space and the light to grow up. And here's a little closer shot of that. where you can see a bunch of different stuff coming up. If you know where to look, there's a mullein over here. There's some clover. There's some kind of baby crucifer or something coming up over here. A whole bunch of little tiny things. And then also I very aggressively seed in crops that I want or weeds that I want in the rows right after mowing. So this list on the side is my 2025 seed mix that I seeded out a few weeks back. And these are all seeds that I collected from plants that I have growing in my garden or around my land. And that over the last couple years has been very successful. Here's an image showing that, like on the left side is a row where I cut and introduced a bunch of clovers. And on the right side is uncut, never been cut. It does get watered, this side of this picture, but this picture was taken in mid-August, and you can see just how sort of yellow and crappy looking the grass is. It's not that great, not photosynthesizing all that much. Whereas on the left side or the other side, the clover's doing great. You know, it's deep green, it's lush. It's kind of hard to see in the photograph, but in the back middle, there's a bunch of yellow sweet clover that's 5 or 6 feet tall. Here's what it looks like down close. There's the red clover with the little purple flowers in the front. Down low, black medic has little yellow flowers. Can't really see the flowers on the yellow sweet clover. And then back center, there's a whole bunch of ox-eye daisy. There's a couple other things too in here that are kind of hard to see. There's narrow-leaf plantain, some dandelion, and I'm sure there's more stuff, but it's just kind of hard to see. And then here's a shot looking down that row where it's kind of hard to tell from the photograph, but these clovers all through the middle of here are 4 to 5 feet tall all the way down. So in total, there's more biomass and there's more area that's photosynthesizing. And then when you cut it, you get a release of nitrogen into the soil, which feeds these trees in this block. I also introduce additional diversity in my interrows by using mobile chicken coops. I have 3 small chicken coops that each have 3 to 4 chickens inside of them. And I just made them out of some cattle panels, some chicken wire, some wire. And then I made a cement roof using layers of landscapers burlap and cement built up over a plastic conical form that I made. And I can introduce seeds both before and after the chickens, which they will scratch and cover the seeds, and I get decent germination. And I get eggs out of it too. I keep the critters out. I have foxes and skunks and raccoons here. I keep the critters out by having these movable metal mesh panels on the ground that are held down with garden staples. And also, I should say the base of the chicken coops sit on top of a hoop of black plastic poly pipe, which slides very easily over all surfaces of the ground. And in the winter, it doesn't freeze and get stuck to the ground. So you can keep the chickens moving all year. Here's a look down a row behind a chicken coop. You can see in the front, freshly scratched bare earth that's been turned over and scratched up. And then going further and further back, you see the grass come in thicker and thicker. And then further down the row, you can see the difference in the color of the grass. It's much more deeper green. And in subsequent years, the following year, down a row where the chicken coop grows, the plants and everything, the grass, the clovers, whatever it is, grows very thick, very lush, and gives you lots of biomass to cut and rake onto the rows. And also you get some surprises behind the chickens. In this shot, this tall, large-leafed grass down the center of the row is sorghum that came up last year from the chicken feed. I do water my system. I have irrigation system. Each row of sprinklers goes down the middle of an interrow and serves 2 tree lines. And then I skip a row and have a dry interrow and then another sprinkler row. So every other set of rows gets watered. And I only run them at night or late evening, overnight, and early morning to avoid evaporation and avoid salting up my soil. I only run them during the daytime if there's heavy cloud cover. Otherwise, the evaporation is just too much because it's really dry here, low humidity. The dry interrows themselves look dead and look horrible, but they do recruit a wide variety of plants that survive without additional irrigation. So they get mullein, salsify, black-eyed Susans, purslane, several kinds of asters, and various other drought-tolerant native plants. Y'all find choke cherries coming up in them. And as I like to say, it looks dead from far, but it's far from dead. And this interrow I keep mowed because this is a vehicle access through to the back of my property. Here's the beating heart of my irrigation system, which is an old hot tub, and it fills by a siphon from the irrigation ditch, and the pump turns on via a float switch, which is this little thing in the middle here with a cord attached to it. And it runs about 50% duty cycle. It takes about as much time to fill up as it does to pump out. And in the bottom, it's very finely screened through a 16th inch window screen that's been wrapped around a milk crate. But it's not perfect, and I get lots of crap that comes through it, mud, insects, algae. And I use these sprinklers called the Mini Wobbler, and they're really great. They only have one moving part, which is this white part on the top. They're super light. They're super cheap. They water incredibly evenly. And if I use the 1/8 inch orifice ones, they don't get clogged all that often. So moving on, I want to show off kind of typical consortiums that I have in my Syntropic type of rows. My main issue is I had a pre-existing orchard that I had started planting in 2020 or so, years before I ever heard or learned of Syntropic agroforestry. So I had planted stuff out on standard spacing, and my main challenge now is filling in and getting the density increased. So again, plants are hard to photograph, so I use my whiteboard just to write down what's in the row in front of me. But there's a bunch of plants there. There's Carragana or Siberian pea shrub, blue spruce, prickly lettuce, chokecherry, mullein, Shainomalies or flowering quince, Platyclatus, which is a Chinese arborvitae, green ash, salsify, hazel honey locust, Amer maple. There's a mulberry in there. There's a poplar over on the side with yarrow and sweet clover in it. And I border the rows with sunflowers on the outer edge of the row away from the sprinkler. And on the inner edge of the row, I put a border of various kinds of mint and agastache and black beans. Here's another row. Similar, this is just kind of further down the block. A few different plants in this one. Crab apples. I've got evening primrose, Rocky Mountain maple in there. And here's another one. Let's see, anything different in here. I got a lot of conifers planted out, ponderosa pines, spruce, and arborvitae, which I like because they're green all year and they provide habitat for birds, which bring in seeds and more diversity. And then also of note in this picture, you can see just beyond this row, there's a pile of woody material in a row. So down the center of my dry interrows, I've moved all the woody woody material that I previously had in my tree lines. And having the woody material in the tree lines proved to be kind of a challenge because it made weeding more difficult. Grass kind of finds a foothold underneath the edge of a log. And in order to get the grass pulled out, you have to move the log and then pull the grass. And then also when cutting the grass, the tip of my scythe would get stuck in a log if I hit it. So I moved all the woody material into the center of my dry inner rows, and it holds moisture. It provides habitat for insects, and it catches wind-borne seeds. So I get seedlings of Siberian elm, poplars, and different stuff coming up along those piles of wood. And then this picture shows a bunch of mullein. I transplant first year mullein plants into my tree lines to use for biomass. So this is about the size that I like to cut them down just as they're starting to flower. Mullein's really great. It has big leaves. There's a lot of it. It's very drought tolerant, and it's a good alternative to, say, comfrey, which a lot of people would use for this sort of thing. Similar appearance, however, totally different plant. A little bit on my herbaceous borders. I have a little battery powered rototiller that I run down the edge and then seed in sunflowers on the outer edge away from the sprinkler because they sort of create a wall that I want to intercept any of the overspray for the sprinklers and direct it down into the tree line. And then on the inner side or inner edge of the row facing the sprinklers, I plant mint and beans. I really like the mint, and I eat the hell out of the beans. So that looks like tilling it up, running a little cedar down the edge of it. And I've also done a few rows using the paper pot transplanter, which is a really cool labor-saving device that puts your seedlings out connected together in a paper chain. So I learned about the little herb borders from Felipe Piscini, so I want to say thanks to him. And then I also learned about the outer edged borders of sunflowers from Anel Terry, who's a French Syntropic practitioner. I transplant most of my trees in the fall. So here's my planting setup, my rig. It's on a bike trailer, and I fill up buckets of water with trees, and I head out, and I like to do 4 trees in one hole. So I'll clear the grass or clear the mulch off a tree line, dig a hole, and put 4 bare root trees in it. And if you're smart about it, you can plant your entire consortium, all of the strata, all together in one hole. So in this picture on the right, there's high strata would be, or the emergent strata would be green ash, which is the little stick kind of on the bottom side. Then sort of high strata would be this Chinese arborvitae. Medium strata would be the Chaenomales. And then the low strata would be this mint. Saves time. As you can see in the dirt, there's a lot of gravel. So that makes digging holes kind of a challenge. And so if I can dig fewer holes, the better. And then also always after planting, put out a real diverse seed mix, put some cloves of garlic in there, poke in a couple of acorns, hazelnuts, walnuts, whatever you got. Always take the opportunity when you have bare soil to introduce more seeds. So yeah, going on to my tree nursery. Here's a shot of my tree nursery as it was last summer, probably late August. My tree nursery started in 2017 because I used to have pigs and I would feed them apples over the winter. So this pig right here ate a whole bunch of apples and then got butchered in December or around New Year's of 2017 or beginning of 2018. And then spring of 2018, there was apple seedlings coming up everywhere in the tree nursery. So I dug them up, put them into pots, and started giving them to friends. I planted some of them out myself, and then thought, yeah, I should really start a tree nursery because I like growing trees. So 7 years later, this is what it's like. And I've actually been the largest bare root tree nursery in Montana, with the most number of trees anyway, according to the guy that does the nursery inspections, Carson. So put in new beds, kind of like standard market garden beds, 30 inches. I till them up, scoop the paths out, put the dirt from the paths onto the bed so that they're raised up a little bit. Tarp them to kill off the weeds, and then plant them out with seedlings that I start like in my greenhouse. So here are those same beds less than a year later, full of trees. My nursery bed rows are about 75 feet long, and on a 6-inch by 6-inch spacing, I can get between 500 and 600 trees in a single bed. And I've had good success using the paper pot transplanter. Pulls out a nice little chain of trees. They're all pretty evenly spaced. On the picture on the left is doing crab apples, and the picture on the right is planting asparagus. And here's a close-up of what the paper chain pots look like. They're really cool. Amazing little labor-saving device. I should say that for me to plant out a single row of plugs in my beds with small plugs, it can take me a whole day to do a single bed. However, with the paper pot transplanter, I can do multiple beds a day, 2 or 3, depending on if I have them prepped and ready to go or not. So yeah, a year later or so, or after a couple years, my beds get filled up full of weeds. I let the weeds kind of peacefully coexist with my tree seedlings. So in this picture, you can see purslane, pennycress, bladder campion, prickly lettuce. There's borage. And then also next to all the trees at the base of each tree, I plant a clove of garlic so that those garlic roots intermingle with the roots of the trees, because I have gophers, and the gophers will make a tunnel down your row underneath all your trees. And one by one, your trees will start disappearing. They'll get pulled down into the ground because the gophers will chew them up, eat the trees from the bottom up. I like a lot of chaos and diversity in my beds. So here's a shot of an asparagus bed with some wild mint, black medic, mullein, all kinds of stuff. I let them just kind of run wild and then only prune as necessary to permit space for light and just room to grow. So there's no such thing as weeds. There's just plants that you don't know how to use. Yeah, you can see I got a lot of dandelions. I really like eating dandelions. They just have a good flavor. So they're one of my main vegetables that I eat almost every day. But if you keep pruning your weeds for light and space, by the midsummer, your trees have grown up pretty well and the beds aren't entirely chaotic, filled with weeds. So by midsummer, it seems kind of organized and clean looking. Here's another shot just before dusk of what my nursery looked like late last summer. And then I also want to talk about planted with the help of many volunteers, Montana's first Miyawaki forest. Planted at the beginning of May this year. It's a 20-foot diameter circle planted with only native plants to this area. And I partnered with a local nonprofit, treesformissoula.org. Shout out to Susan, who's the lady in the green hat there. She helped get volunteers and a lot of people come to plant it out. And it was fun. It was a good weekend. And here's what it looks like about a month later. It's filling in quite nicely. And I'm I'm really happy with it. Here's a kind of close up and a list of the species that were planted. And let's see, moving on, parting thoughts. I've got my list of like the most cold, hardy, and drought tolerant trees. Siberian elm, chokecherry, black hawthorn, crabapple, silver buffalo berry, which is our native Elaeagnus, ponderosa pine, lilac, carigana, Saskatoon, Oregon grape, and honey locust. And also there's one that I forgot that's incredibly drought and cold hardy, which is what am I calling it? Russian olive, Elaeagnus angustifolia. And then also advice, if you're planting stuff out, if you want 10 trees of something, you should probably start out with 100. If you want 100 with something, start out with 1,000. So in my case, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't naturally grow here, like persimmon, Shanamoles or flowering quince, and laburnum. And so I plant a lot of them and select the best ones and plant them out in my tree lines. And as far as how to grow trees from seed, I direct people to the reference manual of woody plant propagation, which is a really great book. Covers many, 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 many families and different types of trees. And I think that's it. That's my presentation. So if anybody's got any questions, happy to chat.
Thanks, Abe. I just want to make one comment for both presenters. Thanks. And I feel every time people present is like you see this creative expression of how principles are applied, which is really cool. It's kind of like cooking, right? You know the principles, and like nobody makes the same meal. But I'll open up for questions. Thank you guys.
Do you sell barrow trees like without grafting them? Is it just like everything is from seed and you don't graft them, right?
Yeah.
Or
bare root seedlings.
all right,
Not
like crab apples, like fruit trees, for example. Could you give me some other examples?
Apricot, plum, medlar, peach, berry bushes, mulberries, strawberries, asparagus, black hawthorn,
And medlar, for example, from seed?
sea berries. Yep, all from seed.
Wow.
And do people graft them usually, or do they just let them go?
They just let them grow. I make a big point of on if people ask, telling them about diversity, and there's a thing called hybrid vigor, where if you take tired, old, grafted varieties and breed them with other trees, the resulting seedlings will be very vigorous. So you get good, nice, fast-growing trees from seed. Thanks for your question, Aurora.
Thank you so much. It was super interesting, super technical. Like it was all the side things. We're into it as well right now, so it was really helpful. You have anything?
Go ahead, Astrid. You just have to unmute yourself.
Oh yeah, okay. I work with a nursery, with a tree nursery as well, and I was asked to put my head around how can you indeed have a tree nursery, but more in a syntropic sense. So you already let indeed your herbs grow in there, but did you ever think about other further steps more towards syntropic, what you could do to have a tree nursery more on the syntropic aspects?
I've thought a lot about leaving trees permanently in the rows of the nursery. Say a lot of trees I'll leave in the nursery beds for 2 or 3 years before I dig them up and sell them. And if I were to leave trees every 15 feet to get that canopy, and maybe do every third row, leave the trees in there. Or I've thought about in some of my inter rows out in the orchard, turning some of those inner rows into tree nursery beds. Because here the sun is very intense, it's high elevation, and it's hot and dry, and everything grows better with afternoon shade. And so getting some permanent trees up tall over the tree nursery would be a huge benefit. So I would like to do that. Some of my trees in the nursery, they'll get 10 feet tall in 3 years, crab apples especially. So in a way, I do get some of that shading already, but I'm always digging them up and transplanting them. So I haven't left any permanently, but I'd like to do that. And using annuals, I could potentially do it with sunflowers or mullein to get that canopy up over them. I do let the mullein plants grow tall. I really like them. The birds come in and land on them. And then as far as like in the nursery, many of the trees and plants could occupy the medium or high layer. And then ground cover plants in the nursery beds, weeds, the purslane, creeping thyme, some of the herbs, dandelions, a lot of that stuff could be the low layer or the ground cover layer. So thanks for that question, Astrid.
Go ahead, ask. Ask, you can go and ask your question.
Somebody's got to unmute their microphone or something.
Muted.
Ask if you hover.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just curious about the mullein, Abe. How are your experiences with the chop and dropping it? Is it coming back easily again, or is it like once a season?
The mullein is a biennial. So the first year it creates a rosette on the ground that doesn't put up a stalk. And those are very easy to transplant. Just kind of fork them up or use a hori or shovel. I pull those up and plant them in the tree lines, either the fall of the first year or the spring of the second year, because they don't put down their taproot until they start to put up the top or their stalk. So they're very, very easy to transplant and they survive really well. But yeah, once you cut them, I cut them off right at the ground, just above ground level, just snip them off with hand shears. And they don't really survive. Maybe they'll survive and put up a couple small, tiny leaves after that. But once they're done, once you chop them down, they don't really regrow.
Okay. But do you allow them to put seeds once in a while just to self-seed?
I do. I leave several to grow up fully to their full height. And when the seeds mature, I chop the top off and put it in a garbage can, because some of the seed heads will be 3-4 feet long. So you kind of need a big container to collect them all. Shake them all out. The seeds are very fine and very, very tiny. And then I put them in my seed mix and redisperse them over the whole entirety of the land. People here hate them. They think they're the super weed and pull them out everywhere and say, oh, they're not native, but I think they're great. I think they're really wonderful. You see a lot of different birds and insects making use of them, so I'm happy to
It
use
seems like they're pretty happy about the seeds as well.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks for your question.
Thanks.
So I have a couple, I think, maybe quick questions. Like when you're doing in the couch grass or quack grass, when you're seeding in it, like you cut it and then you have your seed mix, how do you prep the soil? And then also, how are the rows in terms of having the quack grass? Like some of ours, when we don't manage them, it really takes over. And then like how old are your rows and does it disappear? Because in our older rows, then it disappears because it's for compacted soil that it comes.
It never disappears. I'm convinced that it can't be killed. And it's eternal. It lives forever. So cutting it really hard, like scalping it to the ground, really sets it back, and it doesn't vigorously regrow. And as terms of prepping the soil, the grass grows so thickly that oftentimes there'll be little spots of bare soil underneath the quack grass. And so I don't do anything to prep the soil for the seeds that I put out. I just rely on them falling on a little patch of bare soil below the thatch. So I just let them go. And then in the rows, the quackgrass does invade the mulch and grows up through, but because the mulch is piled up thick, the quackgrass pulls out real easily. It doesn't have any purchase on the mulch. So I'll just go down the row and just hand pull. It doesn't really take over the rows. I'm not super worried about it. I let plenty of it just peacefully coexist in the tree lines. I don't make a point of pulling out every last bit of quackgrass. I've made peace with it. And it's kind of ironic that I've put all this time and effort and energy in growing crops, berry bushes and trees and stuff, but quackgrass roots are edible. Those runners have a delicious, sweet, starchy paste down the middle of them. So as much time and effort and energy as I put into growing all this food, honestly, there's way more food available out there that's 100 times better farmer than I am. So in some ways the quackgrass can just do what it does. Let it be happy.
Thank you. Astrid, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say something about the quackgrass. Yes, indeed, you can eat it. It's starchy. It's actually feeding you. It's the starch in the roots. What I discovered with what I said in my video as well, after the grass comes the buttercup. So what I experience is indeed when you cut it and you have seeds, and in my case it would be often buttercup. So the buttercup would take over then from the craygrass. And the buttercup, interesting enough, the craygrass is just covering everything. So, but the buttercups, when they get older, you have empty bare spots where something else can seed out again. And then another thing is, one of my favorite plants is the figworth. I don't bother planting comfrey because figworth is much better because it grows over winter here. there was only one research I found how much potassium they take up, and it was there was not much potassium in the ground, so the levels in the figwort was low as well. So I think I'm with comfrey. I do everything with figwort, and the figwort, it makes here anyway. I think where drier is a little bit different, but it can fall, if you leave it, it falls over, and on the branch it makes roots again. So I had one spot where I watched it, and it just went onto the couch grass, onto the great grass, and rooted in there, and now it's all figwort. It was really happy because it's moist there, but it just rooted in there and did its thing. So my couch grass is pretty much gone, but indeed watching what other plants do with it, that sort of it doesn't bring a lot of biomass. I find it a bit because it makes this sort of mats. And I have a finger bar mower, and that finds it difficult. But I love your short size thing. That is, what is the name of that again? A mountain, a hill size, or how you call that again? That short size you have.
It's called a ditch.
A ditch size. Yeah. Okay, that was me.
But Abe, just to tell you, in our system, it disappeared after, like, it was planted in 21. Now it's 25, and it's like exited. So I think it can disappear.
In my experience, under heavy, thick shade, it doesn't disappear. It grows even better. I've got a enormous willow tree that it's probably 60, 70 feet tall, and underneath it's 100% shade, and the quackgrass is thick under there. So I think it's here to stay. I'm not going to try to evict it. I don't know how I would get rid of it. Honestly, I would have to spray everything with Roundup, which I'm never going to do. So, I used to think it was a huge problem, the quackgrass, but now I think it's great. I know how to use it, and now I'm friends with it. So I don't pay it too much mind. I just cut it and pile it up and let it grow back. It's like hair on the land. Gotta give it a haircut every once in a while.
And how do you prepare the roots? I had like a mountain of them when I was prepping a bed this spring at another site. How do you prep
I've always just washed them off and just chew on them.
Okay. So no cooking.
Have an outer sheath that's tough, and if you just chew on the runners, the starchy paste comes out. You chew them off, and then rip off the sheath and keep chewing. I've heard of people boiling them or cooking them like spaghetti. One thing I have noticed that works pretty good if you want to be eating the runners is to take wide, flat pieces of wood and lay them on the surface of the soil, and the quackgrass runners will come up and grow underneath that wood right on the surface. And because they're out of the light, they stay white and soft and succulent. So if you have a big, large area covered with wood, you can flip all those boards up and then just pull them right off the surface. And then you have a whole bunch of them that you don't have to dig for. Works. I don't eat that many of them. It's usually just out of kind of curiosity and just pick one up and chew on it. But I know that in famine times in the past, people have survived on them when there's nothing else to eat. It's there for you as a bank of food security. I think in the Ukrainian Holodomor genocide thing back in the previous century, I heard that people survived in Ukraine on quackgrass. I think you can you can process the starch and bake it into flatbreads or cakes or crackers, but I haven't gone that far with it.
Very cool. And any more other questions or comments?
I think you can bake it into, you can process the starch.
I had another little question. Can you hear me?
And any more other?
Okay, I just wanted to ask if it was hard to find to sell those trees. Was it hard to find people? Or did it take you some years to get enough like customers? Let's say.
I created a website before I launched my nursery. I used Shopify to make a little e-commerce website to sell trees. And the only internet marketing that I did initially was make a couple of posts on permies.com, the permaculture web forum. And I started selling on Facebook Marketplace, which I still do. And every local sale that I make on that, I like to hand people a card or tell them to check out my website and tell their friends. And then later, I set up a Google business profile for my website and made sure that all my pages there's some things to do that help you get your stuff onto Google more easily, like have consistent titles between the page, the product that you have for sale, and the description. And Google ranks websites on quality and stuff, so you need to have an About Us page, shipping and return policy page. And if you do all that, you can show up in the Google search results. And it's worked good. A lot of people find me just on Google. And another thing that's been successful for that is listing trees by their botanical names, the scientific names. For some trees or plants, there's not a lot of nurseries that grow them. And so people who are just searching for plants and they type in the scientific name, my website will pop up and I have them for sale. And so I don't know, I guess that's my methodology for marketing, is just through the website, make sure that the page titles and the product names are consistent. And that's it. Yeah. Thanks for your question, Jimmy.
Yeah, he just said that he couldn't hear it, so he listened. I don't know, something happened with his phone, but we have it recorded so he can watch it. But thanks for answering.
I'm Facebook friends with him, so maybe I'll start a chat on Facebook and we can talk
We
more.
can finally hear it again. We'll watch the recording to see your answer.
Oh yeah. I'll send you a message on Facebook. We can chat.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, well, this has been really fun. I can't wait for the next virtual meetup.
Yeah, I think really. And yeah, and Abe, I just want to say your, like, what is that called? Like craftiness of making all these things is really amazing. Your chicken thing and your fence maker and your irrigation.
Yeah, my background is being like a permaculture, homestead, off-grid kind of guy. Like in 2012, I built and lived in a little straw bale house for a few years, and my dad's a carpenter, so I've grown up doing hands-on building stuff. So that stuff comes to me real easily, but I'm happy to help people or tell people or give plans or whatever if anybody wants to build stuff.
Great.
I love all your guys' different channels and podcasts and things. I've listened to a couple podcasts with Astrid, and I love Jimmy and Aurora's channel. And then Roger's recently had some cool videos get put on this channel called Homestead Zambia, where he gives a presentation of Syntropic, where he puts out this real easy to remember thing called the 3 C's: cut, cultivate, and cover of Syntropic agroforestry. So just wanted to say thanks to Roger for coming up with such a sweet and easy acronym to remember, because it's not easy to like describe Syntropic stuff to people that don't know or that don't have much background in it. So boiling it down to something really simple like that, the 3 C's, is really cool. So thanks, Roger.
Well, thanks everybody for joining, and Josipa and I will talk about when we'll do the next session, and we're always looking for people to present. So if anybody here wants to present, or you know somebody else who's been making some experiences, please let us know, and we'll announce it like we did this, and just keep the ball rolling. I find it really helpful, and thanks for everybody, both people participating and presenters again today. We'll let you guys go.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, take it easy.
That was awesome.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Take care. Keep on growing.